The sky over New Nova shimmered with floating cars, blinking signs, and the low hum of transport drones. Skyscrapers touched the clouds, and neon lights danced across glass walls. People in fine suits and glowing dresses walked the upper levels of the city, while the lower streets stayed dim, full of repair shops, metal scraps, and workers who smelled like grease and smoke. Down there, among the tired ones, walked Roland. He wore an old jacket patched in 3 places. His boots were worn, and his hands were rough from years of fixing machines no one cared about. Roland worked the night shift at Dock 17, one of the oldest places in the lower zone, where old delivery bots came to break down and rust. But tonight, his paychip came back empty. No credits. The company claimed a system error, said they'd pay him next cycle. He knew that meant nothing. His stomach growled, but he ignored it. He only had one thing on his mind, his daughter Mira. She was 6, small, and full of questions. She loved the stars and often asked, "Papa, will we ever go up there someday?" Roland always smiled and said, "One day, Starbird." But tonight, he didn't even have enough for dinner. He walked past a shiny restaurant called Crystal Flame. It was a place only the rich could enter. Hover waiters, glowing tables, and a soft blue light that made everyone inside look perfect. He could see people laughing, drinking, and eating plates of food he couldn't name. He paused outside, just for a second, and looked at the plates through the glass dot inside. A woman sat alone near the window. Her skin was smooth and pale, and her eyes glowed a soft green. She had long silver hair tied into a braid, and her clothes shimmered like starlight. She wasn't human, Roland could tell, but no one else seemed to notice. Maybe she was rich enough that no one cared. Her name was Vexa, but Roland didn't know that yet. She was picking at a fancy plate, but barely ate. She looked bored, her eyes staring out the window, until they landed on Roland. For a moment, their eyes met. Roland quickly looked down, embarrassed. He hadn't meant to stare, but then something inside him pushed him forward. He hadn't begged before, never. But Myra was waiting at home, hungry, and he couldn't return empty-handed. He stepped inside. The guards moved, but the woman raised her hand. "Let him speak," she said quietly. Roland took a breath. He walked to her table, heart pounding. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said, voice low but calm. "May I have your leftovers?" The room went silent for a second. A few nearby guests frowned. One waiter took a step forward, ready to remove him, but the woman raised a brow and looked into his eyes. She saw something: tiredness, yes, but also strength. Pride, not a beggar, but a father who had swallowed his pride for someone else. "Who are you?" she asked softly. "I'm Roland. I work the docks. My daughter hasn't eaten since morning." Vexa stared at him. She had met generals, merchants, and travelers from 20 worlds. None had looked at her like this man did, with dignity even in the dust. She gently pushed the untouched plate toward him. "I didn't touch it," she said. "Take it." Roland blinked. "All of it?" She nodded, double quotes. "Thank you," he whispered. He picked it up carefully, wrapped it in the cloth he kept in his pocket, and bowed slightly. "You've helped more than you know." He turned and left without asking for more. No complaints. No begging. Vexa watched him go. The waiter came over and asked, "Should I file a report, ma'am?" She shook her head. "No, let him be." Outside, Roland walked fast. He ducked through 2 alleyways and took a lift down to the metal housing zone, rows of connected units with thin doors and warm lights. He entered his unit quietly. Mira sat on the floor, playing with wires and a broken communicator. When she saw her father, she smiled. "Papa," he smiled back. "Guess what I found, Starbird?" She gasped when he opened the cloth and showed her the food. Her eyes sparkled. "Is this real chicken, with sauce?" "Real enough," he chuckled. He let her eat first, watching with a full heart as she enjoyed every bite. He took a few crumbs for himself, but mostly just sat beside her. brushing her hair back and thinking how lucky he was to have her. Back in the restaurant, Vexa tapped her fingers on the table. She had not felt this curious in a long time. Her people had come to Earth in secret years ago, hiding among humans. They studied quietly, waiting for signs of the one thing they feared and hoped for, the bridge human who could unlock the old technology no alien could control. For some reason, that man's eyes had shaken something inside her, not just his pride, not just his pain, but something deeper, something ancient. She stood and whispered to herself, "Who are you really? Roland?" The next morning, Roland woke before the sun lamps turned on. Mira was still asleep, curled up in the corner under a thin blanket. She smiled in her sleep, her stomach finally full after days of near-empty meals. Roland looked at her, then sighed. He had to find more work today. One meal wasn't enough. Bills were due, and the storage heater was already flickering. He quietly slipped out, hoping to catch extra shifts at the dock. But just outside his door, someone stood waiting. It was her. Vxa. Roland froze. Her silver hair glowed faintly in the dim hallway. She wore simple clothes now, not like the shining ones from the restaurant. Even so, she looked completely out of place in this part of the city. "You followed me?" Roland asked, voice low but careful. "I did," Vexa said, her tone calm. "But not to harm you." Roland narrowed his eyes. "Then what do you want?" Vexa held up a small glowing device. "I need someone to repair this." Roland looked at it. It was like nothing he'd ever seen. It had no screws, no buttons. It pulsed gently, alive and silent. Most would call it junk. But something about it. It called to him. He reached out and took it. The moment his fingers touched it, a small symbol blinked to life on its surface. He hadn't done anything. Just touched it. Vexa smiled slightly. She had expected this. Roland stepped back. "This isn't from Earth, is it?" "No. And you are not just any man," she said. "I'm a mechanic. I fix delivery bots and trash sorters," he replied firmly. "You're more than that," Vexa said, voice softer now. "You fixed that device without knowing what it is. That's not normal. That's rare." Roland looked at the object again. It was now warm in his hand. He could sense where its fault was, deep inside. He felt like he knew how to fix it, not by thinking, but by feeling. He put it down carefully. "Why are you really here?" he asked. Vexa stepped closer. "Because I have more of them, dozens. Some are broken, some dangerous, some forgotten. For centuries, my people can't fix them, but maybe you can." Roland's head spun. "Your people?" "I'm not from this planet," she said quietly. "But I live here now, hidden, watching." Roland crossed his arms. "And you want me to be your secret fixer?" "I want to offer you a job," she replied. "No lies, no tricks. What kind of job? Come with me. Just look. If you don't like what you see, you walk away. No harm." Roland hesitated. He didn't trust rich people. He didn't trust aliens. But she had fed Mira, and now she offered work, real work. He thought of Myra's smile the night before. "All right," he said, "but I'm not leaving my daughter behind." "Of course not," she nodded. "Bring her." 2 hours later, Roland and Mira stood in front of an old bakery. Its lights blinked weakly. The glass door had cracks, and the smell of burnt bread filled the air. Mira looked up at her father. "Are we getting breakfast?" "Not exactly," he said. Vxa appeared behind the counter. Without a word, she pressed a panel under the shelf. The wall behind her slid open, revealing a staircase going down. Mira gasped. "Cool." They went down together. Roland held Mira's hand tightly as the stairs led into a dim hallway. At the end was a large metal door. Vexa placed her hand on a scanner, and the door opened. The room beyond was huge. It looked like a lab and a machine shop combined. Tables were covered in glowing parts. Drones floated quietly in corners. There were shelves full of strange objects. None looked human-made. Mira walked in slowly, eyes wide. Papa... Is this a spaceship place? Roland nodded slowly. Feels like it. Vexa pointed to a workbench. That's your space, if you want it. Roland walked over. A device sat on the bench, sparking slightly. Without asking, he picked up a tool and leaned over it. Within seconds, he adjusted a small panel, reconnected a strange wire, and pressed down gently. The sparking stopped. The device hummed quietly, glowing soft blue. He looked up. I didn't mean to do that. My hands just moved. Vexa smiled. Exactly. Roland stood straight. So, what do you want in return? I want you to keep doing what you just did, she said. Fix, understand, help me uncover things even my people forgot. What do I get? A safe place for Myra, real payment, food, a better life. Mira tugged at his arm. Papa, I like it here. It smells like stars, Roland smiled. I don't know what that means, Starbird. Vexa leaned forward. Let me show you one more thing. She walked to a locked case and opened it. Inside was something larger, covered in cloth. She removed it slowly. It was a small pod like an escape pod, but older, ancient, worn. This, she said, is the reason we came to Earth. We think someone like you can open it. Roland stepped forward and placed his hand on the surface. Pod lit up. He stepped back in shock. Vex's voice was barely a whisper. You're what we call a bridge. A human born once in many generations. One who can connect with alien tech not with study, but with instinct. I never asked to be anything, Roland said. I just want to take care of my daughter. And now, Vexa said, you can do both. Roland stood still for a long moment, his hand slowly pulling away from the pod. Its surface still glowed softly where his fingers had touched it. Mira peeked from behind his arm. Papa. It turned on. I saw, he said quietly, confused. And a little scared. Vexa watched them both carefully. She wasn't surprised. This was exactly what she had hoped for. She stepped forward and placed a small tablet in front of him. It displayed diagrams and alien language, but as soon as Roland looked at it, the text shifted and became readable English. He blinked. It changed for me. Another sign, Vexa said. Your mind is linking with the tech. I'm no scientist, Roland said. I barely passed school. I fix broken bots with duct tape and wires. And yet you connected to technology older than any human machine, Vexa replied. This is not about school. This is something inside you. Roland looked at the glowing pod again. What is this thing? It's a message pod, Vexa said. From a lost alien civilization. It crash-landed on Earth a long time ago. No one has been able to open it. Until now, Mira whispered, eyes wide. Vexa turned to her. You're very smart, Mira. Mira smiled proudly and hid behind her dad again. Roland turned serious. If I work here, she stays with me. No secrets, no hiding her away. Agreed, Vexa said at once. She can even learn here, if she wants. Mira's face lit up. Can I really, with floating robots? Yes, Vexa smiled. We'll keep it safe for her. Roland nodded slowly. All right, I'll do it. I'll help you fix this stuff. But if anything feels wrong, we're out. Understood, Vexa said. The next few days passed quickly. Every morning, Roland and Mira came down to the secret workshop. Under the bakery. Mira spent time drawing aliens and talking to small drones that responded with lights and beeps. Sometimes they showed her star maps and holograms of distant galaxies. Roland, meanwhile, worked. He fixed broken devices without manuals. He used tools he'd never seen before, but somehow understood. He unlocked sealed panels by simply touching them. Vexa watched everything, recording his actions and taking quiet notes. He wasn't just guessing. He knew how to do things. Like the knowledge had always been there. waiting to wake up. Each time he fixed something, he asked the same question. What does this do? Sometimes the answers were simple power cells, scanners, or signal amplifiers, but other times, the answers made him pause. Memory extractors, field generators, gravity shifters. He realized quickly that not all the tech was harmless. One day, he opened a cube the size of a toaster. It had sharp edges and emitted a low hum. When he activated it, the air above it twisted like light was bending. Vexa hurried over and shut it down. Don't turn this one on again unless I say, Roland frowned. What is it? It's called a fold fragment. It's a piece of unstable space, she said carefully. A very small, dangerous experiment. Why do you even keep this stuff? Roland asked. Because knowledge is power, and because others would destroy it without learning from it. Roland didn't like it, but he understood. He wasn't just fixing broken toys. He was touching pieces of the universe that shouldn't even exist on Earth. Later that night, after locking up the lab, Roland and Mira walked home through the lower zone. They passed the same alley where he had once searched trash bins for scraps. It felt like another life now. He had money in his pocket, food at home, and work that mattered. Still, he stayed quiet. Myra noticed. Papa, what's wrong? He looked down at her. Nothing, Starbird, just thinking. About the machines? She asked. Yes, and about why I can fix them when no one else can. She grinned. Because you're cool. He laughed softly. Maybe, but it's strange. Feels like I'm changing. Mira held his hand tightly. You're still my papa. He looked at her and smiled. That's the part I'll never change. The next morning, something new happened. When they arrived at the lab, the front bakery was already open, and someone else was waiting inside. It was a tall figure in a dark green coat. His skin was pale gray, and his eyes glowed red under a hood. He wasn't human. Roland stepped in front of Myra. VXA entered from the back. It's all right. This is Thalen. He's a visitor from my home. Roland didn't relax. He doesn't look friendly. Thalen bowed slightly. I only came to talk. Vexa led them downstairs. Inside the lab, Thalen walked slowly, looking at the repaired devices on the tables. So, this is him. Yes, Vexa said. Roland. Thalen turned to him. You fixed these things without guidance? Roland nodded. Strange. Dangerous, Thalen muttered. I'm not your enemy, Roland said. Standing straight, Thalen looked at Vexa. You're getting too close. We warned you. He's helping us, Vexa replied calmly. He's important. He's unstable, Thalen snapped. He could activate something that destroys the entire zone. Roland stepped forward. Then teach me. Don't treat me like a child. Thalen's eyes narrowed. You have fire. That's good. But fire can burn. Mira peeked from behind her father. Are you going to hurt my papa? Thalen paused. For the first time he looked unsure. No, he said at last. I only came to warn. Then he turned and walked out. Vexa sighed. I'm sorry about that. Roland shook his head. He's not wrong. I don't even know what I am. You're human, Vexa said. But you're also something more. Something rare. And that scares people. Roland sat down at his workbench. He looked at his hands. I just want a better life for Myra. And you're building it, Vexa said gently. One repair at a time. Night fell over New Nova like a soft curtain. The floating towers dimmed their lights, and the upper-class crowd disappeared into their glass homes. In the lower zones, things were always darker and quieter, except for the hum of machines. The whispers of secrets inside the hidden lab beneath the bakery. Roland sat at his workbench with a half-repaired object glowing under his hands. Mira sat nearby, drawing pictures of planets and stars with a floating pen Visa had gifted her. Roland was focused. The more he worked with alien tech, the more natural it felt. He no longer needed to think. His hands just knew what to do. Myra looked up. Papa, Are we aliens now too? Roland laughed gently. No, Starbird, we're still human, very human. But the machines like you, she said. He looked at the device. I don't know why they do. Maybe they think I'm one of them. Just then, the lights flickered, just for a second. Vexa walked in quickly from the side hallway. Her face looked calm, but her eyes were sharp. Stay here, she told Roland. Don't let Myra leave the lab. Roland stood. What's wrong? Vexa didn't answer right away. She tapped her wristband, and the large monitor in the corner lit up. A strange ship hovered outside Earth's orbit, round, metallic, glowing with green lines. Someone's here, she said, and they're not from my homeworld. Then who are they? Roland asked. They belong to a distant alliance. She replied. We've had no contact with them for years. And now suddenly, one of their ships appears above Earth? That's not a good sign. Roland looked at the screen. Do they know about this place? They shouldn't, Vexa said. But if they're scanning deeply, they might detect the tech we're working on. Mira tugged at her father's sleeve. Papa, is it bad people? Roland kneeled beside her. I don't know yet, sweetie, but we'll stay safe. I promise. Later that evening, the door to the bakery buzzed. Not many people knew about the place. Not many came without invitation. Vexa checked the outer camera. A tall figure in gold robes stood outside. His skin shimmered faintly, and he had glowing lines across his temples. His eyes were silver, and his voice came through the speaker in perfect English. I come in peace. I seek the one called Roland. Roland stepped back. He knows my name, Vexa frowned. That's not possible unless someone told him. She opened the outer door, but kept the lab door sealed. The visitor entered the bakery. He looked around with interest, then turned toward the hidden camera. My name is Zirin, he said. I'm an envoy of the Cerulean Star Union. We received signals from this location, ancient ones, from devices we thought long lost. Vexa replied through the speaker. You are not welcome here. Zirin didn't argue. I only want to speak with the one who awakened the pod. Roland stared at the screen. He means me. Vexa turned to him. You don't have to go. I know, Roland said. But I want to hear what he has to say. She hesitated, then nodded. I'll unlock the door, but only if I stay close. Roland took Myra's hand. You stay here, no matter what. Myra pouted but nodded. Okay, Papa, I'll guard the lab. He smiled, kissed her forehead, and followed Vexa up the stairs. The moment Roland stepped into the room, Zirin turned toward him and smiled. So, you are the bridge. I'm a mechanic, Roland said simply. Zirin chuckled. Perhaps. But only one with your touch could awaken ancient Cerulean tech. That means something. Roland crossed his arms. What do you want? Zirin's tone changed. I came to warn you. The signal you triggered didn't just reach us. Others may have heard it too. Dangerous ones. Hunters of ancient power. Why should I believe you? Roland asked. Zirin stepped forward slightly. Because you have a child. And those who come next won't care about her safety. Roland's eyes narrowed. Vexa spoke coldly. Are you threatening him? No, Zirin said calmly. I'm giving him a choice. Come with me. Leave Earth. Learn how to use your gift with others like you. We can protect you both. I don't want to leave, Roland said firmly. My life is here. Myra's life is here. Zirin sighed. Then you must prepare. The ones who are coming won't ask before they take. He turned toward the door, then stopped. The stars are wide, Roland. You may think Earth is home, but it won't be safe for long. Then he left without another word. Back in the lab, Roland sat on the bench, holding a glowing tool in his hand. His thoughts were heavy. Mira brought him a cup of warm broth. Papa. Yes, Starbird? Are we in trouble? He looked at her and forced a smile. Not yet. But we'll be ready. She sat beside him. "You're like a hero in the stories." "I don't feel like one." "Heroes don't always feel like heroes," she said wisely. Roland looked at the tools, at the machines, and at the old message pod still glowing in the corner. He knew now that the quiet life he wanted wasn't coming. Whatever had been awakened was only just beginning. The next morning, the air inside the hidden lab felt heavy. Not with heat, but with silence. Even the soft humming of the machines seemed quieter. Roland sat at his workbench, holding a strange disc-shaped device that pulsed with a soft light. He wasn't working. He was thinking. Ever since the alien named Zarin came with his warning, something inside Roland had shifted. He didn't feel like a simple repairman anymore. He felt like a man carrying something too big to understand. Across the room, Vexa typed silently at her console. Her eyes kept drifting toward Roland. She knew the time had come. "No more hiding, Roland," she said at last. He looked up. "I need to tell you the truth," she said quietly. He stood and walked over. "About what?" "About who you are," she said, "and why your hands can fix machines even trained minds can't." Vexa took a deep breath. "A long time ago, there was a war among the stars," she began. "Not for land, but for knowledge. Ancient machines, some older than any living species, were found in the deep dark. Nobody knew who made them. Some said the builders were gone. Others believed they never truly lived." Roland listened carefully. "My people, and many others, tried to study that tech. But no matter how smart we were, we couldn't unlock it. We couldn't even open it. Until one day, something happened on a forgotten moon." She paused. "A human traveler. Just one man. He touched a broken orb and it opened. The machines responded to him. Not because he was a scientist, but because he was human." "Why?" Roland asked, frowning. "We still don't fully understand," Vexa admitted. "But the belief is that humans carry something in their minds, a strange energy, a natural bond that allows them to feel these machines. Some humans more than others." She stepped closer. "You are one of them, Roland. You're not just fixing things. You're waking them up." Roland turned away. "Why didn't you tell me this before?" "Because you wouldn't have believed it," she said softly. "You were just trying to feed your daughter. You didn't ask for all this." He laughed bitterly. "You're right. I didn't. I just wanted enough credits to buy dinner." He looked at the pod glowing softly on the table. "And now you say I'm something special." "You are," she said, "but it's not just about machines. It's about what they mean. These ancient devices are like keys. They can open doors to power, to danger, even to peace. And if the wrong person uses them?" Roland asked. Vexa's face darkened. "Then entire cities could fall." Mira entered the room quietly, holding a small round device that followed her like a pet. It beeped softly, glowing purple. "Papa, look. This one talks to me now." Roland kneeled. "Where did you find that?" "In the drawer," she said. "It beeped when I came close." Roland looked at Vexa. "It's harmless," she said. "A scout drone. It's recognizing her as part of you." Roland picked up the drone. "It feels warm." "That means it's connected," Vexa said. Roland turned serious. "Can she be like me?" "Possibly," Vexa nodded. "Or maybe stronger. Bloodlines carry gifts." Roland hugged Myra tightly. "I won't let anyone take her." "No one will," Vexa promised. But Roland wasn't so sure. Later that day, Roland sat alone in the upper part of the bakery. A cup of lukewarm tea sat untouched on the table. He kept replaying Vexa's words in his mind. A bridge, a rare human, a key to ancient machines. He had never asked to be special. He had worked hard his whole life, fixed junk for scraps, lived in the shadows of tall towers. The only thing he ever wanted was to keep Myra safe and happy. Now his very touch could draw danger to her. He didn't know if this was a gift or a curse. The front door buzzed. It was Thalen, the tall gray-skinned alien who had visited before. He looked more serious than usual. "You've told him?" Thalen asked Vexa, who had followed him in. "Yes," she said. Thalen looked at Roland. "Then you understand the risk." "I understand enough," Roland replied. "Then you should leave." "Earth," Thalen said firmly. "Take the child and go to the protected zones. It's the only way to be safe." "I'm not running," Roland said. "I was born here. My daughter was born here. This is our home." Thalen shook his head. "Then you need to hide." "Because others are coming." They heard the pod activate. "They will come looking for it, and for you." "Let them," Roland said calmly. "I'll be ready." That night, Roland worked harder than ever. He opened the pod again. This time, he felt something new, a message like a whisper in his mind. The machine wasn't just a container. It held memories, voices, even old blueprints. He connected the pod to a translator. The lab lights flickered. Then a voice echoed through the speakers. "To the one who unlocks this pod, know that you carry the spark of the first makers. You are not chosen by blood, but by spirit. If you feel this machine, then you are the last hope." The message ended. Roland sat back in his chair, stunned. "The last hope?" He whispered. Vexa stepped beside him. "It means the machines are searching, and now they found you." Mira came over, holding her drawing. It showed her Roland and Vexa standing in front of a glowing star. "I made this," she said. "It's us saving the world." Roland looked at it for a long time. Then he smiled. Maybe he didn't choose this path, but maybe he could make it mean something. The hidden lab buzzed with energy. Machines glowed softly, and screens filled with alien symbols blinked in the dim light. Roland stood at the center, his hands buried deep in the open pod, wires glowing under his touch. Vexa watched from the side. She had seen many repairmen, scientists, and researchers in her life, but none like Roland. He didn't follow instructions. He didn't need them. The machines responded to him like an old friend had finally returned. Mira sat on the bench, swinging her legs, humming a quiet tune. She had drawn another picture, this one of their little lab floating above the earth. Roland was calm, until suddenly the pod sparked. "Papa!" Mira jumped up. Roland stepped back, shaking his hand. A faint red mark glowed on his palm where the spark had touched him. "I'm okay," he said quickly, though his hand throbbed. Vexa ran a scan. "The system is reacting to something. It's not broken. It's awakening." The lights in the room flickered. The pod pulsed, and then, without warning, it sent out a silent wave of pulse that only a few machines could detect. Far above Earth, in the cold shadows of orbit, something stirred. A dark ship, hidden in cloaking fields, caught the signal. Inside, machines lit up. Red eyes blinked open. They had found what they were searching for. Later that night, Mira started to feel strange. Her skin was warm, her cheeks red. "Papa, my head hurts." Roland's smile faded. He placed a hand on her forehead. "You've got a fever." He looked at Vexa. "Can we take her to a clinic?" Vexa scanned her quickly, frowning. "She's not sick, it's the drone." Mira's small floating pet, an alien machine, now glowed bright purple and hovered closely around her. "It's feeding her energy," Vexa said softly. "But too much. It bonded to her too deeply. Then remove it." Roland shouted. "We can't," Vexa said. "If we break the link suddenly, it could hurt her even more." Roland picked up the drone. "Then I'll fix it. Whatever it's doing, I'll stop it." He placed it on the table. The drone beeped sadly, like it knew it was in trouble. He opened the side panel. Glowing lines of alien code flashed across its body. Roland's fingers trembled. "This is more complex than anything I've seen." Vexa touched his arm. "You don't have to do this alone." He shook his head. "Yes, I do. This is my daughter. She's all I have. Time slowed in the lab. Roland worked with full focus, eyes scanning symbols faster than any human should. He didn't eat. He didn't rest. Mira lay on the soft bed Vexa had brought down, whispering softly in her sleep. Every minute mattered. Finally, after hours of work, Roland reached into the core of the drone. He saw a small spark, pure energy, spinning too fast. That's the source, he said. It's giving off too much. You'll have to reduce the flow slowly, Vexa warned. I don't have time, Roland said. Her body can't handle much more. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Then, slowly, carefully, he touched the energy source. The room filled with light. The machines around them reacted instantly. Drones hovered, screens flashed, and the pod itself pulsed again stronger. This time dot and then silence. Roland opened his eyes. The drone was still. Its glow was soft now, calm, peaceful. Mira's fever had gone. She sat up and rubbed her eyes. Papa? Roland rushed over, pulling her into a hug. I'm here, Starbird. I'm here. You fixed it? She asked. He smiled, tears in his eyes. Yes, I did. Vexa stood beside them, truly speechless for the first time in years. You risked everything, she said softly. Roland looked at her. I'd do it again. But the silence didn't last long. An alarm blared through the lab. Vexa ran to the console. Her fingers moved fast. We've been scanned. Someone just broke through our signal shield. Who? Roland asked. The ship that received the pod's first signal. They found us. Outside, the air began to vibrate. Far above, the dark ship entered Earth's sky, silent, cloaked to human eyes. It hovered above the lower zones, watching. They're here for the pod, Vexa said. And for you. Roland placed Mira behind the workbench. Stay down, no matter what. What are we going to do? She asked. He stood tall. I'm going to protect you. No matter the cost. Within minutes, figures in dark armor descended into the city, silent, smooth, fast. But when they reached the bakery, they found resistance. Vexa activated the security drones. Roland had rigged some himself, small but powerful. As the invaders entered, the lab lit up with defensive lights. Lasers flared, drones darted, and shock pulses knocked weapons from enemy hands. Roland fought too, not with fists, but with machines. He hacked into the floor panels, sealing doors, and trapping enemies in corners. The lab became a maze of defense. One intruder reached for Mira. Roland's eyes glowed faintly. The lights in the lab surged. Machine behind him came to life, one he hadn't even touched before. It launched a pulse that knocked the attacker backward in one burst of energy. Roland rushed to Mira, lifting her into his arms. You okay? She nodded, eyes wide. Papa, the machines helped you. No, he whispered. They believe in me. After a long hour, the last of the invaders were gone. Their ship left Earth's skies in silence, damaged and retreating. Vexa patched a wound on her arm, looking at Roland with amazement. You connected to systems I didn't even know were active, she said. They listened because I needed them. T.O., Roland said, because Mira needed them. The pod in the corner blinked. A new symbol appeared. It read, Status, Guardian confirmed. Roland stared at it, heart pounding. Is that me? He asked. Yes, Vexa said. You're more than a bridge now. He looked at Mira, sleeping peacefully in his arms. I'm a father. That's all I've ever wanted to be. The lab was quiet again. The invaders were gone. The machines were still. Only the soft hum of the pod remained, glowing like a heartbeat in the corner. Roland sat beside Mira, gently brushing her hair with his fingers. She slept peacefully, wrapped in a soft blanket, her small hand holding onto the sleeve of his shirt. He looked tired but calm. For the first time in a long time, the fear in his heart had eased. Vexa stepped over, carrying a tablet. I've finished scanning the damage. The lab systems are holding, thanks to your work. Roland nodded. And the pod? It's responding better than ever, she said. Your connection with it has fully formed. You're not just a mechanic anymore, Roland. You're now its guardian. He chuckled softly. Guardian, that still sounds strange. But it's true, she said with a smile. You protected it and it chose you. That title is earned, not given. He looked over at the pod. Then what now? More enemies will come. They'll keep coming. Vexa nodded. Some will, yes. But now you're no longer alone. Over the next few days, changes happened fast. Vexa called in trusted allies, other aliens, living quietly on Earth. They worked with Roland to rebuild the lab stronger. They brought new tools, upgraded the shields, and built safe zones for Mira to play and learn. For the first time, Mira had a real bed, books, toys, a place to be a child again. She laughed more now. She asked questions like, Papa, can stars talk? Can I fly a spaceship someday? Do robots dream? Roland always smiled. Maybe Starbird. One day, word of Roland's role spread among hidden alien communities. One by one, strange visitors arrived not to attack, but to meet him. Some came with broken machines. Some came with questions. Others simply came to see the human who awakened the ancient tech. They called him the Earth Bridge. Some called him Machine Speaker. One visitor even called him the last hope of the makers. But Roland always said the same thing. I'm just a father, a man who needed to feed his daughter. One afternoon, as Roland worked on a device that projected light maps of ancient galaxies, Mira ran into the lab, her eyes glowing with excitement. Papa, look what I made. She held up a floating model of their home, complete with a tiny version of the lab and even a little glowing pod. Roland picked her up with a laugh. Did you build this all by yourself? Well, Vexa helped a little, she admitted. He kissed her forehead. You're a genius, Starbird. Mira looked thoughtful. Will we ever leave Earth, Papa? He paused. Would you want to? She shrugged. Only if you come too. Roland smiled. Wherever you go, I go. A few weeks later, Vexa approached Roland with something new. I've received a message, she said. From the Keepers, the ones who watch over ancient tech across galaxies. Roland raised a brow. They know about us? They do now. And they're offering a place in their alliance. What kind of place? They want you to help repair and protect other devices. The ones hidden on distant worlds. The ones no one else can fix. Roland looked at Mira, who was busy helping a drone stack small boxes in a corner. Can I bring her? Yes, Vexa said. And she be safe. You'll both have a home among the stars, if you choose it. Roland looked down at his hands, the same hands that once picked scrap from trash bins, now touched by ancient tech. I never asked for this, he said. I know, Vexa replied. But you were chosen not by fate, but by your heart. That evening, Roland stood on the rooftop above the bakery. Mira stood beside him, wearing a small backpack and holding a toy shaped like a star. Above them, the night sky sparkled with more stars than Mira could count. Are you ready? He asked. She nodded. Are you? He chuckled. I guess I am. Vexa stepped out from the stairwell. Behind her, a quiet shuttle hovered. Its sleek design glowed with soft blue lights. They walked together toward it, father and daughter, side by side. As they entered the ship, Roland looked back one last time. He remembered the day he stood outside a fancy restaurant, asking for leftovers. He remembered how low he had felt, how tired, how hopeless. And now he was stepping into the stars. As the shuttle lifted into the sky, Mira pressed her face against the window. Papa, look, there's Earth. Roland sat beside her. It's beautiful. It's tiny now, she said. Still home, he replied softly. She leaned her head against his arm. Will the stars be kind to us? He kissed her head. As long as we stay kind to each other. The shuttle soared higher, leaving the lights of New Nova behind. The stars opened wide above them like a doorway, and together, hand in hand, they stepped into a new life, not as beggars, not as fugitives, but as builders, protectors, explorers, and above all, as a father and daughter who never gave up.